Malmö against Chelsea in the first leg of the round of 32 in the Europa League. Following the 6-0 spanking against Man City on Sunday, Chelsea want to and have to get back to winning ways. But in Malmö, face a team that's very easy to underestimate, although the Blues are of course the favourites and should be expected to get the win. To find out everything you need to know about both sides and Sarri's press conference ahead of the game, why Alonso is the only player not to travel to Sweden without being injured, and more, be sure to watch all of this preview. Hello there guys and welcome back to 100% Chelsea for my preview of the Malmö versus Chelsea game in the round of 32 in the Europa League, obviously being the first leg, obviously with the game taking place tomorrow evening at 8 PM UK time. Of course, in Malmö in Sweden. And this is the preview. There will be a review. There will be all sorts of content surrounding the game. So if you don't want to miss out on any of that, please be sure to subscribe to 100% Chelsea. And also, let's see whether we can hit 400 or more likes in this video. So if you do enjoy our content, if you do enjoy this video, please be sure to smash the like button down below. But now getting straight into it. And as usual, starting it off by speaking about our opposition, which obviously is Malmö. And of course, Malmö are a club from Sweden, from the very south of Sweden. And in Sweden, actually, the league campaign doesn't run from August until May, like it does in most countries, like it does in England, but rather from April until November. Now, of course, we are basically their first game of the season, even though they are also to play 3 games in the Swedish Cup, which kind of works in the group system. And they will play those 3 games along with the 2 Europa League games against ourselves before the actual league campaign starts on the 1st of April. The game tomorrow against us is actually Malmö's first competitive game since the last round of the Europa League group stages when they beat Besiktas 1-0 away from home on December the 13th. Obviously finishing second in their group behind Genk, but ahead of Besiktas and Sarpsborg as well. They finished the group on 9 points with 2 wins, 3 draws and just 1 loss, winning actually both games against Besiktas, drawing to Sarpsborg twice and then losing away to Genk and obviously drawing the other one against Genk when they played them at home. But actually, they scored the least amount of goals in that group, with just 7 obviously goals scored and conceding 6. Now in the domestic league, even though they are by far the most successful club in Sweden, winning the league 20 times in their history, 5 times in the last 10 years, they only finished 3rd last season, 8 points behind obviously champions AIK, or AIK if you want to pronounce it English. But of course, this is basically their pre-season, or well, we are kind of the end of their pre-season if you will. So obviously, like we do in the summer, they played some friendlies in their pre-season, 4 of them to be exact. First of all against 2 smaller Swedish sides before losing to Russian side Krasnodar and then drawing 0-0 with Dynamo Kiev. And obviously the last of those games against Kiev took place last Friday. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I don't know much about Malmö. I tried to do my research, I found a little bit, I watched some things, but I don't know a whole lot about Malmö. I'm going to have to be honest. Especially the fact that they're basically starting a new season makes it difficult to learn much about them. I only know one of their players in their squad, like that I've actually seen play before, and that is Marcos Rosenberg, who I've seen play for Sweden and known from his stays at Werder Bremen and West Brom as well. But he's now 36 years of age and basically returned to his boyhood club to see out his career, although I'm actually told that he's still one of their best players, or if not their best player. So, fair play to him. They also have some other good players. I'm not going to say he's the only player that's good. He's just the only player that I've actually, consciously watched play. What I can tell you though is that with the exception of their games against Sarpsborg, they always had less possession than their opponent in Europa League and usually didn't actually create many chances for themselves. Less than the opponent usually, but for the most part they were actually clinical when they did create chances. Now, it seems usually they lined up in either a 5-3-2 or 3-5-2, whatever you want to call it, kind of the same thing, or in a 4-4-2, kind of dependent on their opponent. Overall, you can't underestimate any team that made it to the knockout stages. I don't care what you think of the Europa League, you can't underestimate any team that made it this far. You can't underestimate any team that won away at Besiktas. That's not an easy thing to do. No matter how poor Besiktas form might be, to go to Besiktas and win is not an easy task. But of course, we are the much, much better team. Our wage bill, if I'm not mistaken, is 24 times greater than theirs, and we should really be expected to beat them. But, they are a decent team, especially defensively. They're a very good team, and it's going to be tricky. But to be honest, that's really it about Malmö. And now getting into Maurizio Sarri's press conference. And now first, Sarri did confirm that both Marcos Alonso and Ruben Loftus-Cheek didn't travel with the squad. Loftus-Cheek, due to his back problem, that obviously we know all too well by now, that the boss actually, basically said isn't serious, and he does actually hope to have him back for the game against Manchester United on Monday. But still, it is annoying to have him out again. He was on the bench a few times, he came on as a sub a few times. and now he's back out again. So it's a massive struggle. We need to figure out his back issues. And then for Marcos Alonso, according to Sarri, he was just left out to be rested, which, to be honest, I don't buy for one single second, seeing as all of David Luiz, Rudiger, Azpilicueta, Kante, Jorginho, Eden Hazard, they all travelled. Usually one of the two centre-backs, one of Luiz or Rudiger, was left at home for the Europa League games. Hazard was usually left at home for the Europa League games. Of course, we're now in the knockout stages, but still, for Alonso to be the only player of the squad that stays at home without being injured, I don't buy that at all. I call massive bullshit, and I think, basically Sarri has a little bit of problems. Obviously, there was minor reports of some clash they had. Wasn't a very reliable source, but there was that report anyway. I mean, has he seen the light? Probably not, and Alonso's going to start on Monday, but I don't, buy this story that he's just left at home, basically to rest. I mean, other than that, Sarri's part of the press conference, he was just asked the obvious things about the City game, and then replied the obvious things. There's no point going through it. It was a little bit silly. The only thing that is kind of worth mentioning is that he did comment on his Italian interview, after the Man City game, in which he basically said that he would actually be happy if Roman Abramovich did call him, because he rarely hears from him, which obviously a lot of people interpreted as, is he trying to get sacked? Obviously, people, were made it out, okay, you lost 6-0, and then is Roman going to call you? Are you going to be sacked? That kind of stuff. And basically, today he kind of just cleared that situation up and said he doesn't never hear from Abramovich. He doesn't never talk to him. Not very often, but it's not never. And he said usually he just speaks to Marina, and for him, that's good enough. Pedro was then the player speaking after Sarri, as is normal in basically these European games that you have a player speaking after the manager in the pre-match press conferences. But Pedro didn't really say anything interesting either. Just the typical media-trained footballer's answers. Obviously, how bad basically the result against City was, and that it wasn't an easy week. And they're basically praising the manager, and then also saying there's no problems in the team. Just the typical answers, nothing worth speaking about. But now, with that being it from the press conference, let's talk about Chelsea. And lineup-wise, I find it really, really difficult to basically tell what Sarri is going to go with. I mean, you could argue that you should basically start the exact same team that started against Man City as a sort of punishment to play in the Swedish cold tomorrow evening. Although, actually, it isn't even particularly cold in Sweden at the moment, so maybe throw that out the window. But to be honest, I do expect quite a lot of rotation. What I do have to add, though, Danny Drinkwater also isn't part of the squad, even though, unlike in the group stages, he is now part officially, he was named in the Europa League squad, but he did pick up a small kind of injury yesterday in training apparently, and that's why he didn't travel. Maybe he wouldn't have travelled anyway, but that's why he isn't available. But talking through the team, to be honest, in goal, whether it's Kepa that starts or not, I'm not really all that fussed. He's a keeper. He should be fine to start, physically. He shouldn't be that tired. But Azpilicueta is the guy that needs to rest. He needs to rest badly. I mean, the guy played every single game recently, even against Sheffield Wednesday in the Cup he played. I don't know what's going on with Zappacosta. Obviously, there was rumours about him wanting to leave and maybe leaving in January. But January is now a while back. And he hasn't played since, and he just needs to play simply because Azpilicueta needs a rest. Obviously, Christensen has to play and will play. And then, to be honest, I'd play Gary Cahill next to him. I mean, Cahill is still around. He didn't end up leaving in January. And with the amount of games we have coming up, we should rest as many players as possible. Now, because I really want to see Emerson Palmieri start against United on Monday, I would have gone with Alonso tomorrow, to get started against Malmö, but Alonso didn't travel with the squad, so obviously it's going to be Emerson, and then we'll just have to hope, I guess, that Emerson also starts against United on Monday. But then coming to the midfield, I think, it is pretty obvious that Mateo Kovacic has to start instead of Jorginho as the regista, because we will not change the formation, and neither should we, in my opinion, especially against Malmö. Then as the right side of centre midfielder, Kante also should really get a rest, so I'd say start Ethan Ampadu there. And then as the left centre midfielder, well, seeing as, I want Ruben Loftus-Cheek to start on Monday, and he also isn't involved, tomorrow. He didn't travel with the squad with his back problem. It's just going to have to be Ross Barkley again, even though he played there against Man City, started there against Man City. And that's just what happens when you don't replace Fabregas. I mean, Drinkwater has a small injury, Loftus-Cheek isn't at 100%, or he's also injured, and we already don't have enough options anymore, even if we do put Ampadu in midfield, when he was actually the idea was to have him as a centre-back option for the season, ahead of the season. And even if we play him in midfield, we still don't have enough options. The fact that we didn't replace Fabregas is still kind of fucks with my head. It just does not make any sense. But now coming to the front three, I really, really want Callum Hudson-Odoi to start on Monday. I really want Sarri to have had enough of both Willian and Pedro, simply because there's no point in playing them anymore, in a sense, because they're all right players. I'm not saying they're both terrible, because they're not. That would be a silly thing to say, in my opinion. They're very inconsistent, yes, but they're all right players. But they're not going to improve anymore, though, are they? I mean, they're like 30, 31 years old. They're not going to improve anymore. Callum Hudson-Odoi will. Even if right now Callum Hudson-Odoi, especially tactically, is not as good as them and, defensively might harm us in games, you know, he still has to play. He's the guy that's going to improve, and if you want to keep him, we have to play him anyway. So I really hope for him to start again on Monday. I very much doubt that if he starts tomorrow, he will start on Monday. So I would go with Willian and Pedro on either wing tomorrow, but obviously it is way more likely to be Hudson-Odoi and Willian, the two guys that didn't play against Man City. And then up front, I mean, Higuain could do with every single minute that he plays with the team just to get to know his teammates, but at the same time, we shouldn't overplay him. You know, the guy isn't the fittest guy of them all, especially when Sarri said just 2 weeks ago, whatever, that he isn't in his best physical condition. So kind of you need match fitness, but you also shouldn't overplay him. So with that in mind, I would obviously start Olivier Giroud and maybe then bring on Higuain for the last half an hour or 20 minutes or so, just to, again, just give him more minutes with the team and get into that flow, build that chemistry even more so, which obviously we need in the upcoming games against United, against City in the League Cup final, against Spurs, you know, in all of these games. But yeah, I mean, that is the lineup that I'd go with. I'm not going to put it up on screen because it is a little bit all over the shop, what I'm expecting, what I'm hoping for, and, you know, what we can really predict Sarri to do. It's a bit tricky, but tactically, what is that to say ahead of the game against Malmö? I mean, I expect Malmö to line up in a 3-5-2 or 5-3-2, whatever you want to call it. I mean, they're most likely to defend deep. They're very good defensively, and then they'll try to hit us on a counter. I mean, obviously they won't want us to score an away goal. Obviously not, for obvious reasons. So, you know, maybe they try to keep it as a 0-0. Maybe, you know, nick a lucky punch and just beat us somehow. I do expect that, and I think they will be very tricky to break down. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's just going to be the same as ever. We'll have almost all of the ball and we'll have to try and break them down, and, you know, won't be easy, but let's hope we can manage to do that. I mean, my score prediction, I don't think we'll smack them. I just don't, you know, think that's going to happen, even though the whole, you know, let out our anger on them. We did that to Huddersfield after Bournemouth, and that didn't help us for the game after. So maybe it's better if we don't do that. I don't know. But I do think we will get the win. Like I said, I don't think we'll smack them. Maybe it will end in a draw, but I do think that we'll end 1-0, maybe 2-0. I think one of those two results is the most likely. But yeah, to be honest, that's really it for me. Leave me all of your thoughts ahead of the game down in the comment section below. What do you make of Marcos Alonso not travelling? Do you think it's actually only for him to be rested, even though he's the only guy that's apparently staying at home to be rested? What do you make of that? Your predicted lineups, your score predictions, leave it all of it down in the comment section below. Like I said in the beginning, let's see whether we can hit 400 or more likes. So if you enjoyed this video, if you found it informative, please do smash that like button down below. Of course, don't forget to check out my social media, which is Laos1507 on both Instagram and Twitter, as you can see over here, and also the links to both of them are down in the description below. So if you want to follow me over there, basically, I'd absolutely love you for it. And obviously, this is also YouTube, so if you haven't already, please subscribe to 100% Chelsea, and also don't forget to hit the notification bell button and choose to be notified about all uploads so you don't miss any of the future videos. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea, and I'll see you next time.